Ladies and gentlemen, it's a special edition of the Bama Standard. And why are we doing this right now? Well, we just had the first quarterback in Alabama history to win the Heisman Trophy. That's none other than Bryce Young. And with me tonight to help me celebrate and to hopefully celebrate with you as you come on is the man, the myth, the legend, the senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Stephen M. Smith. What is going on, my friend?
Man, if I had a thing of ginger ale, I'd be pouring it on the ground right now. I don't have any alcohol, so I have to have the ginger ale to pour it on the ground right now. But this is a very exciting moment for Alabama fans across the landscape. Justin, I'm not in T-Town this weekend, but if I was, the strip would be a madhouse. Police would not be going down there. The Bama fans are on happy 10 clouds right now because they've been waiting on this moment for such a long time. Prior to Nick Saban, you didn't have any Heisman finalists the program is concerned. Since Saban has arrived, you've had several Heisman finalists, and four stamped their names as Heisman Trophy winners. The first ever quarterback to get this done in Bryce Young. And you talk about, you've had Pat Trammell come through here, Bart Starr come through here, Joe Namath come through here, Stabler come through here, Walter Lewis come through here. So many great ambassadors at the quarterback position. And for Bryce Young to finally kick the door in and get the Heisman Memorial Trophy, the 87th Heisman Trophy in the history of the award since 1935, it is a very happy moment for people in Tuscaloosa and surrounding areas.
Oh, without a doubt, man. This absolutely has to be one of the most highly anticipated Heisman Trophy presentations for Alabama fans. And maybe even the SEC. This is a truly big moment. And this moment couldn't come sooner, especially after this past week. You know, as Alabama fans, we had a bitter taste in our mouth because we had guys like Will Anderson and Jameson Williams denied awards of the ESPN Collegiate Football Awards show that many felt they rightly deserved to win those awards. So we had a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouths, and me personally, I started thinking in the back of my mind, are the voters going to mess this up? But to see the icing on the cake this weekend, to see Bryce Young finally take this award home, man, it's a priceless feeling. It's a feeling that I can't describe, man. It's absolutely amazing.
Justin, I seriously thought they were going to give the award to Kenny Pickett of Pittsburgh. I really thought they were going to give that thing to Kenny Pickett. I was fighting the feeling in my mind the whole time. I thought they were going to give that thing over to Kenny Pickett, but just how Bryce dominated all four regions in terms of Heisman voters. He got 80% of the first place votes. That is absolutely incredible. Just shows the dominance he's had all year. And to me, as well as he played against Georgia, setting the SEC championship game record with 421 passing yards, did total 4 touchdowns, I thought his performance in the Iron Bowl, that drive, 12 plays, 97 yards to tie the game and send it into overtime, I thought that moment sealed the Heisman in my mind for him, because it's either you have that drive or Auburn wins the Iron Bowl. You have that drive or you're a 2-loss Alabama football team. So as well as he played against Georgia, I thought the drive in the Iron Bowl won Bryce Young that Heisman.
It's absolutely amazing to see that. And what really stuck out to me in that drive was his poise, his confidence, and just being cool as a cucumber. And, of course, we all saw it, that smile on his face. Man, he was having fun. Would you be able to have fun when you have 100,000 Alabama and Auburn fans yelling at you from the stands right on top of you, the way of the world and the playoffs on you? Would you be smiling? That's a lot to ask, brother.
Look, Justin, my dad's an Auburn fan, and I have a tough time smiling about that. My dad's an Auburn fan, and I have a tough time smiling about that. So Bryce Young, definitely different from me. He has a different mindset than what I have, but I just look at the season he's had as a whole. You look at a guy, and continue to reiterate this, you do not have a Najee Harris. Brian Robinson's good, but he's not Najee Harris. You do not have a you don't have a Jerry Jeudy. You don't have a Henry Ruggs. You don't have a Jalen Waddle. You don't have a Devontae Smith. You don't have a Dickerson. You don't have a Leatherwood. You don't have a Deontay Brown. You don't have a Steve Sarkisian. All of these offensive pieces lost. And Bryce Young, as a first-year starter, 4,000 yards anyway. He is second all-time behind Mac Jones, single-season passing yards in school history. 3 touchdown passes anyway. He's tied with Tua Tagovailoa 2018 for most passes in a single season for an Alabama football quarterback. Top 10 in all major statistical categories for quarterbacks, with the exception of completion percentage. Offensive coordinator and Bill O'Brien, who's been up and down at times. So I give him his credit. I'll give him his credit in the SEC championship game. I'll give him his credit there. But he's been up and down majority of times this season. And Bryce had this offense still averaging over 40 points. I mean, this dude, incredible.
It's absolutely amazing when you think of it, like you just said. You know, how many players, let alone quarterbacks, can take over a team themselves when they're missing those key players like Najee Harris in the backfield, Landon Dickerson, Alex Leatherwood, Deontay Brown, and then you got first-round NFL draft picks at wide receiver. They're out. You're breaking in a new everything. And I got into an argument about the Heisman voting with some friends of mine who weren't Alabama fans, of course. And the first thing they bring up is, you know, the award should be given to the guy that if you took him off his team, that team would not be able to survive without him. And the argument always is, Alabama's got all these 4 stars, all these 5 stars that, you know, if you remove Bryce Young, they're still going to win. Yeah, we win, but to be honest with you, if you look at some of those games, I think Alabama loses probably maybe 4, possibly 5 of those if Bryce Young is not leading the way.
If Bryce Young is not leading the way, I mean, Alabama, that's a loss to Florida and Gainesville. That's a loss to Florida. Bryce Young's not leading it. That's potentially a loss to LSU if Bryce Young's not leading it. You know, you already have the loss to Texas A&M. That's a loss to Arkansas if Bryce Young's not leading it, and that's definitely a loss to Auburn if Bryce Young's not leading it. So he has been huge for Alabama, and I think for me, what this night does, it stamps Alabama in the quarterback U conversation, because I feel like Alabama's always kind of been in there here as of recently, especially with you've got 3 guys that played at Alabama, got degrees from Alabama, now in the NFL. When you talk Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, and Tua Tagovailoa. Now, of course, people will say, well, Bama fans can't claim Jalen Hurts. He spent his last year at Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley developed him. Before he got to Lincoln Riley, Dan Enos, 2019. 2018, excuse me. Dan Enos, 2018, developed Jalen Hurts in his final year at Alabama. Dan Enos did that as the quarterback's coach. And Jalen Hurts marched across the stage to get his degree from the University of Alabama. So the Crimson Tide Nation still holds claim to him. They still validly hold claim to him. So you have all 3 of these guys in the NFL. And, of course, Mac Jones is looking like the NFL Rookie of the Year. Tua Tagovailoa is starting to really heat up. The Dolphins are on a 6-7 game win streak with their eyes set there on a 10-7 year potentially and trying to backdoor their way into the playoff. But looking at this from Bryce Young's perspective here, everybody would always say, if you want to be a running back, you come to Alabama. Running backs. You want to be a wide receiver, you come to Alabama. You want to be an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, you come to Alabama. You want to be a linebacker, defensive back, you come to Alabama. Now it's, you can be a quarterback too at Alabama. Because with Bryce Young winning this Heisman, now it's not only, Heisman winners are only at Baylor, or they're only at Oklahoma, or they're only at, these Pac-12 programs. No, now you can come to Alabama and get you a Heisman Trophy. This is huge because now quarterbacks from across the landscape are thinking, If Bryce can do it, let me come down to Tuscaloosa, because now Coach Saban is starting to pop out quarterbacks. Let me make my way down to T-Town, because if Bryce can do it, I'm going to come on down here.
Without a doubt. And it's kind of funny, when Bryce won that, became official, and now we do have claim to, realistically, to be in quarterback you got to feel like the entire nation outside of Alabama just let out a huge sigh, like, oh no. They got their claim on this position now too.
I'm just saying, and I'm just saying, I think Justin, I think this makes Nick Saban the Renaissance man of college football. And I talked about this on my show, in my own words for Touchdown Alabama. It's, you think about it like this. Everything that's been thrown at Nick Saban, look how he has managed it. Look how he has transformed it. When he first got here in 2007, what they told him, it's going to take you 6 years to win one national title. He won his first one in 3 years. Now he's got 6 of them, going after a 7th at the University of Alabama. Then they go, well, can Saban truly recruit at Alabama? He's got several top-ranked recruiting classes. Then they look at, well, can Saban put guys in the NFL? You look at every NFL team, just about all 32 NFL teams have at least one Alabama player on it. Then they go, well, let's change the recruiting tactic. We'll have 2 signing periods. We'll have an early signing period and a traditional signing period. He has mastered that now. Well, let's take his coaches from him. He's been able to reboot coaches. And now the entire college football is a bunch of Nick Saban minions. He's changed the landscape of college football from the coaching ranks. Then they go, okay, transfer portal. He'll lose guys. Well, he's lost guys, but look at how he's gained guys, and he's still running the gamut. And then they go, well, he can't have a Heisman quarterback. He can't have a Heisman quarterback. Quarterbacks just don't work at Alabama. And now he's popped out a Heisman quarterback too. The man has literally become a Renaissance man. It's anything you claim that Nick Saban can't do, he one-ups his own self by beating you.
Without a doubt. We got a quote here from the audience. MFR Jones, not only does Saban know how to find the talent, he knows how to get them developed and get the best out of them. Absolutely. That's the biggest thing, despite all the coaching changes, despite the departures. When he has the guys in place, he teaches them a lot of things. He develops them. He helps them grow. He creates value for them in so many different ways. And who else could do that? But Steve, I feel like you have a point to make from that. Go ahead.
I mean, I didn't have a point to make from that, but this just kind of separates Coach Saban from everybody else in college football. You can recruit the 4- and 5-star kids. Butch Jones did it at Tennessee. I mean, Dabo Swinney's done it at Clemson. Kirby Smart's doing it at Georgia. You can recruit the 4- and 5-star kids. That's not the hard part. The hard part is developing them, molding them, finding what their strengths are, pulling all that out of them, and get all of these guys to play as one unit. That's the difficult part, getting all of these guys to play as one unit. And you look at this Alabama team this season, for the majority of the season, we've looked at some ups and downs, some inconsistent, stages in the road here. But Coach Saban has found a way to pull the most this year that a lot of people felt like after the loss to A&M, this is a down year. They're not going to win, and it's okay, and it's cool, and we don't need a national championship this year, and we don't need an SEC title this year. We'll accept the down year. Saban has pulled it out to where this is supposed to be a down year. This team just obliterated Georgia and treated Kirby Smart like a motherless child and won the SEC. This team just won the SEC championship. This team just crowned a Heisman Trophy winner. And it's supposed to be a down year.
Down year.
This team is headed to the college football playoff. It was supposed to be a down year. This team has a chance to go back-to-back national champions for the first time since the 2011-2012 campaigns, and this is supposed to be a down year. That just speaks to the mastermind of Coach Saban.
This arguably has to be one of his best coaching seasons to date, given all the frustrations he's had this year that he normally doesn't have to deal with, all the distractions, all the problems he's had with getting players engaged, trying to get them to play to that Bama standard, play with that Bama factor, trying to get the elder statesmen on the team to step up and be leaders, dealing with the NIL and just all the nonsense this year that he typically doesn't deal with. And typically in the past, when he's had these issues, they've been corrected like that. Well, we had issues through 12 weeks of the season. They weren't going away. But yet, Coach Saban, in the midst of all the turmoil and all of us self-entitled fans, still found a way to make it work. And then when the whole nation turned against us, said, we don't belong, we shouldn't even bother showing up to the Georgia Dome. If we do, we're showing up to our own funeral. Pulls out the best game of the entire season. And like you said, beat Georgia like a motherless child. That's the Saban factor, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, it is, and he pulled out some huge cards, Justin, to get that done. I know we're talking about Bryce Young and the Heisman and how big this is, and absolutely it is, and taking nothing away from what Bryce Young has accomplished on this evening, because it is a magical evening for him and for Alabama fans everywhere. But just looking at the SEC championship game and the performance that he had, you got to give a lot of credit to the move of putting Seth McLaughlin at center.
Right.
I felt like that move changed a whole dynamic because he handled 6'6", 340 Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis was a non-factor against 6'4", 290 Seth McLaughlin. It was an absolute non-factor. And then the offensive line as a whole, Chris Owens all the way down, just played tremendous football all game long. And then, of course, defensively, I mean, we've talked about it on the Bama standard. I don't know what got into DeMarco Hellams, but the last 2 weeks he's been playing his best football. Brian Branch has been playing his best football. Jordan Battle played an extremely good game. Dallas Turner, that kid is going to have his whole imprint on the college football playoff. Kool-Aid McKinstry is continuing to grow out there on the field. It's a team that, even though it hasn't been up to what we thought it would be early on, it's better to peak late than never, and we're starting to see that.
Right? Yeah.
It's better to peak late than never. But I'm telling you, Justin, if I could be in Tuscaloosa right now, I mean, they're probably flipping cars and everything up there. Like it is just an absolute joy to see this, unfold. Because as I mentioned to start the show, there have been so many legendary quarterbacks to come through this program.
Right? Yeah.
Nobody has held the Heisman Trophy in the air as the winner until tonight. The 87th Heisman Memorial Trophy is held up there by Bryce Young. And you can just imagine all the quarterbacks going, I helped pave the way for number 9 right here, holding up this trophy and giving this thing back to the University of Alabama program in such a major way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, as an Alabama fan, you think of who has gone through there. Like you said, Kenny Stabler, Bart Starr, A.J. McCarron, and then Blake Sims. And let's go ahead and call it what it is. Blake Sims really opened it up and started this whole movement.
Oh, yeah.
Of the quarterbacks at Alabama. And to be honest with you, he really should have been considered for the Heisman Trophy in 2014. But he wasn't. But he was the pioneer. He started all this. So we get him.
But I go even before Blake Sims. I look at who started this all in terms of the athletic quarterback. You got to give Walter Lewis his credit.
Yeah, that is true. Absolutely.
I think Walter Lewis started this, and then it goes to Andrew Zhao. But
yes.
I think Blake Sims put it on a broader scale because no one really believed in Blake from the get-go. So
no,
I think Blake put it on a much broader scale, and I think Blake should have had it in 2014. I think A.J. McCarron should have potentially had it in 2013, but Jameis Winston had a great season, so you can't go wrong there. I thought Tua should have had it in 18.
Thank you.
and the joy in this murder ball that
All
was
right.
invented that year under Michael Locksley as offensive coordinator. I thought Tua should have had it that year, but apparently somebody saw something in Kyler Murray running around and he got it that year. So
I think. All due respect to Kyler Murray, though, you got to think that he has to be the benefit of Tua Tagovailoa getting hurt towards the later part of that season. But yeah, as
that and also Tua not playing in the fourth quarter.
yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, absolutely, because he was putting up some monster numbers. We were just joyless murder ball, and everybody was sitting on the first team in the second half. So yeah, he couldn't really add those numbers and pad those stats to get the Heisman. But as an Alabama fan, you're sitting back and thinking, okay, if Tua Tagovailoa can't win it and Mac Jones can't win it, then what do we have to do to finally get this elusive trophy? And Bryce Young is a resounding answer to that.
I mean, he did it, man. He did it, taking home the Heisman, taking home the Davey O'Brien, taking home the Maxwell Award, taking home the AP Player of the Year, which Alabama back-to-back AP Players of the Year. Devontae Smith won it last year. Alabama back-to-back SEC Offensive Player of the Year, Smitty, and now Bryce. And now Alabama back-to-back Heisman, Smitty, and now Bryce. I mean,
yes, awesome, man.
Who would have thought the touchdown pass, the one touchdown pass Bryce Young had last year, the one that went to Devontae Smith against Kentucky, would end up being the one to set this all in motion here.
I tell you what, and that very clip, that monologue is getting hot on channel right now. If somehow you're living under a rock, people in the audience, and you didn't see that, please do yourself a favor. Go to the TDA, Touchdown Alabama Magazine channel on YouTube. Please watch that. I'll tell you what, though, Steve, when I was watching that, chills just went through my entire body when Devontae made that statement of, little did they know that a Heisman winner was going to be passing to a Heisman winner. Man, that just sent chills through my body.
It's crazy because Smitty and Bryce were roommates last year. They were roommates. And so I always remember when Smitty first came in, because I was the first one to recognize how big Smitty was going to be as a freshman. And I remember it was August of 2017. I'll never forget it. It was August of 2017. It is blazing hot, about 98 with the heat index of 104. I'm on the field with black pants on to the fan day, about to halfway die. Our photographer was like, "Steve, are you going to die out here?" I'm like, "I'm going to be all right. I'm good. I'm good." I'm like, sweat bullets. And I'm talking to Cam Sims, and I'm like, Cam, if there was a time where Calvin Ridley was not open on a play, who do you trust with the football? And several receivers walk by Cam. He says absolutely nothing. He takes my hand and walks me over to this 6 foot nothing, soaking wet, maybe 150 pounds. Yeah. And he's like, "That's him." I'm like, "Dude, that guy's my size." He's like, "No, man, Smitty. That's a dog. That's an animal. Tay gonna catch everything. I put everything on Tay. I put it on Tay, man, on everything, man. Tay is something else, man. Tay that dude." And I'm like, "Cam, you gotta be lying to me." Nah, man, Tay, bro. Doubt me if you want to. Tay. And we saw Devontae Smith. Boom. I mean, they said, hey, too small, too skinny, too, all of that. But Devontae Smith did that. And look at Bryce Young, kind of the same story. A lot of people thought, well, Bryce is kind of small. Bryce is kind of slender. Can Bryce take a hit? That size kind of worries me a little bit. And here is Bryce in front of the camera winning the Heisman Trophy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing that everybody said, as he is being recruited, number one prospect at his position, and everybody was giving high praises. He's going to be the next number one pick. And then come to this year, like you said, everybody starts being negative. Oh, he's too small. He's 5'10" barely if he's standing on his toes. He's 170 pounds. There's no way he's gonna be able to do what everybody's claiming he can do. Matter of fact, it's really crazy, Stephen, and I think you talked about this before. Even at some points during the early part of the season, even Alabama fans were saying that we needed to bench Bryce Young in favor of either Jalen Milroe or Paul Tyson, and it's one of the most absurd things I ever heard in my life. Yes, Bryce did have his growing pains, but they were small, they were minute, and you look at it, you're like, okay, this is a young guy, he'll figure this out. No need to really worry, but for people to kind of start doubting him like that, it just blew my mind.
I think what brought the doubt on Justin was the fact that Bryce comes in as the number one dual threat quarterback in the nation in the 2020 class, and meaning that he passes the ball exceptionally well, but he also runs the ball exceptionally well. So fans want to see more of that running ability, especially when he had an open lane and probably didn't take it the way he would have liked to have taken it early on in the season. But to me, how I process that is a lot of times with dual threat quarterbacks, you're kind of caught in the middle here. Instinctively, you know you can run. Your brain is telling you run. You got legs, go. But then you also think, but I want to prove that I can throw the football. I want to prove that I can be an elite, effective, accurate passer. Because for so many dual threat guys, people laud their legs. They praise their legs. They praise their feet. But they go, but can they really throw? Can they really be accurate? Can they really be precise? Can they really anticipate passes, anticipate the blitz, anticipate, how to make these throws and where these throws are supposed to go and when the receiver comes out the break? And, can I have the right pre-snap and post-snap reads? And can I have the mental preparation? So that aspect of the game, a lot of dual threat quarterbacks want to prove that they have. And I think that was the thing with Bryce. As much as he wanted to run, he more so wanted to prove I can be a full package quarterback here. And he showed that all season. And then at moments where you start to doubt the running ability, then he pops out and runs with it. The SEC championship, 3 carries for 40 yards, had the little rushing touchdown there. So, Bryce knows deceptively when do I pull this ball down here and run versus when do I create the Russell Wilson extending night plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I get to my point, Tim Ferriss says, what's sad is this is a very young team with injuries. Like Stephen said, limped into the SEC championship and the college football playoff. Just think, with an extra year of experience for this team and good health, look out, y'all.
I'm just saying, and just go back to what Tim Ferriss just mentioned here. I'm going to say this. This could be, I'm not going to sit here and jinx anything right now, but Alabama continues what it's doing. Could this be the first three-peat program in college football? I mean, potentially it could be the first three-peat program in college football.
It quite possibly sets it up. You had to think with everyone who's returning.
Because first off here, you're going to have a veteran offensive linebacker. I know you lose Evan Neal to the NFL draft, but you're going to have a veteran offensive linebacker. You're going to have a healthy running back room back. You're going to have receivers with experience back.
Oh, yeah.
If Chris Allen comes back on defense, and I'm starting to hear a little rumbling, some people I speak with that I'm close to, he could be back. Think of how scary that outside linebacker room is going to be. Then you look at the defensive back room, that group's going to be good. Then you look at the inside linebacker room. Now, if Henry To'o decides to go pro and you have Christian Harris back in weak side, your middle linebacker could potentially be big Deontay Lawson, and that could be really scary right there. So I'm just saying, this team handles business in the college football playoff, wins the national championship. We could see a potential three-peat. We could see this.
Absolutely. Waylon says, I really think they could still use Milroe in the offense. Yeah, I think so too. I think you can add a wrinkle.
They could. You could. But I think you could save Milroe for the title game, if provided Bama gets by Cincinnati, which I think they would get by Cincinnati. I think you would save Milroe for the winner of Michigan, Georgia. You save
I
Miller
think
for
so
that.
too. And be quite honest, no slight towards Cincinnati. I don't see any reason why we would need to pull out all the stops, add new
I mean,
wrinkles, and
yeah.
be and creativity against the Bearcats. I really feel like we should have a field day running the ball. Bryce, throwing it here and there, to
Right.
keep them honest. But
250 to 275 for Bryce. 250 to 275. I mean, if he hits 300 again, I mean, I wouldn't be against it.
not at all.
But 250 to 275. But I mean, Justin, this is a huge night. I mean, I'm sitting here, in my chair, as they're getting ready to open up the envelope, and the whole time I'm like, if they call somebody not named Bryce Young, I promise you this drink is gonna break my television screen, and I'm gonna have to cough up another $200 to get a TV replaced. Like I'm thinking, if they call somebody not named Bryce Young, we gonna have some serious issues here. And the whole time, the inner me was going, they gonna go politics, man. Watch, they gonna call Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. I thought that too.
Watch, they gonna call Kenny Pickett, bro. Watch, they gonna call Kenny Pickett, bro. Watch this happen, bro. They gonna screw Bryce out of this. And the whole time, I'm sitting here telling my inner me, shut up. And so when they read the card and it said Bryce Young, I'm like, no pick of the day. Yes.
Yeah. Brother, hey, listen, I was fighting the same battle too. I was like, shut up, Justin, put all that. No, don't do it. But in the back of my mind, I was like, Kenny Pickett might do this. And then the way they've been building up Aiden Hutchinson over the past 2 or 3 weeks, and the stories, the legacy, and all that.
Look, that was in the back of my mind too. And like the whole time, I was thinking, you know what? Let me just go grab my Tokyo Drift muffler to calm myself down. I'm gonna go grab the muffler to calm myself down. So I had to grab the muffler. I had to calm myself down a little bit. But I mean, what a night! I mean, seeing them reading Bryce's name and him going up there and holding the trophy. But not just that. You go on Twitter and his teammates. You look at Will Anderson, who's overjoyed. You look at Trayshawn Holden. You look at Malachi Moore and Chris Owens and Javion Cohen. The entire team is just completely overjoyed. One of their 4 team captains, the offensive MVP, the team MVP, Bryce Young, getting this Heisman, and it just the guys are so happy about this. And then you got former players, C.J. Mosley, Marlon Humphrey out here, Mark Ingram out here.
Yes.
They're all Cornelius Bennett out here. I mean, they are all out here in pure celebration and pure elation because finally a quarterback, Alabama gets the guy throwing the pigskin to win the Heisman Trophy.
I mean, I'm so elated. Funny thing is, with as much hype as Aiden Hutchinson got going into this, they said that Matt Corral won the fan vote for the Heisman.
That was super weird.
Yeah, I heard that little tidbit. I was like, wait, what?
That was super weird, man. Appreciate that thought from Jimmy Clay. Yes, Bryce Young definitely deserved the Heisman. That was super weird, though. Matt Corral in the fan vote. I'm like, I just going to throw that in there? Like, that was weird.
Well, and listen, this gives all credit to Matt Corral, and I'll get back to Bryce in a second.
Doubt.
If you want to talk about doing more with significantly less, Matt Corral was definitely that guy this season. He had to play for the majority of the season, hurt himself, and then he's playing with second and third string players and some walk-ons and still putting up incredible numbers. But yeah, if you're going to put somebody up in New York who was not Will Anderson, he would have been that guy for me. Let's just call it what it is.
I mean, I could roll with that. I could roll with putting Matt Corral in there. I could roll with that. And this is why I honestly felt like, for the Bama Nation, I felt like, if it would have just been the 3 Heisman finalist quarterbacks, Pickett, Stroud, and Bryce Young, I think it wouldn't have been that big of an issue, but because the fourth guy was a defensive guy, and the fourth guy, no offense at all to Aiden Hutchinson, great young man, but the fact that we have seen what Will Anderson has done all year. You know how difficult it is to record near 100 tackles as a jack linebacker with your hand in the dirt? That's impressive.
Without a doubt.
Has 91 tackles, 52 of those for loss, for sacks and tackles for loss, and he's doing this with a hand in the dirt. Like, you remove Anderson, Bama has no defense.
Yeah, you're right.
From that.
So we got a question here from Tim Ferriss, and I did have a point I was wanting to get to, but this is for the fans tonight. So yeah, please bring the questions. We're here for you guys. Tim Ferriss, what's your thoughts on Dan Lanning announcement as Oregon's new coach? I personally don't think that with the distance between jobs, I don't think he's going to be fully invested in Georgia's game versus Michigan. And some people have brought that up.
That's interesting. That is really interesting right there, because Dan Lanning, I know he's one of the key minds on Georgia's defensive staff. I know Kirby Smart's the guy that's, as the head coach, has animated, coaching the defense, getting in guys' faces. But Dan Lanning is actually one of the masterminds of that defense and of that group also. So him landing this job at Oregon, taking over for Mario Cristobal, who, congrats to Coach Chris. Love that guy. Goes down to Miami. Miami got a jewel. Coach Chris was great at the University of Alabama. He built he continues a powerhouse at Oregon, and now he's going back to Miami. So, Dan Lanning has some big shoes to fill there. But, I agree. It is going to be difficult for him to kind of prepare Georgia for this match, Michigan, while you got to assemble a staff at Oregon. You got to get recruits prepared. You got National Signing Day, early signing period next week. There's a whole lot going on if you're Dan Lanning. So his mind is not going to be 100% invested in, setting up a game plan for Georgia, effective against team under Jim Harbaugh, that those Wolverine fans feel like, finally, we've arrived.
Yeah.
It took us 7 years, but we're finally in the playoff.
You're absolutely right. I think the difficulty that Lanning is facing of having to be in two places at once, it's going to be overwhelming. However, if you look, Kirby Smart did it for us when he was hired as the head coach for Georgia.
He did.
And he was able to be very effective in our game. Jeremy Pruitt, same situation where he was hired at Tennessee. He was able to do it. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But yeah, Mario Cristobal, excellent recruiter, going back home where he started everything as a player, going on one-on-one with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in practice. So, but you also got to think Georgia's going to be okay because they have Will Muschamp on staff as a defensive analyst. So, and more than likely, I would think that he's going to get a promotion and become the defense coordinator.
And of course, they got the veteran players over there. So I think Georgia will be fine in that matchup against Michigan. It's going to be interesting to see here how they're going to be able to stack up against this Michigan offense. But what's also crazy, though, Justin, as we're talking about Bryce Young here in the Heisman, we're going to look at Clemson here. Dabo Swinney's lost the coaching staff. Tony Elliott, the OC, is gone to Virginia to take the Virginia head coaching job.
Which people speculated.
Brent Venables, the man that nobody thought would ever leave Dabo Swinney. Brent Venables has left to take the Oklahoma job.
Hey, I also want to bring something else to the table. There is speculation now that Dabo Swinney might be headed to the Raiders.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it started there. I mean, I don't know how much truth there is to it, but there are seeds out there being planted that it may be a possibility. Of course, it may amount to be nothing, but there's still talk about it. But yeah, Clemson, interesting situation. This is the first time they've really had to do this because they kept everybody on staff the entire tenure of Dabo Swinney, and they're about to experience what we call here at Alabama the Saban factor, where you're having to start over from scratch with new everything. So.
Got a thought coming in here from Jimmy Clay on, does Georgia still go with Stetson Bennett? That's going to be interesting also because even though people even though Stetson Bennett gives you a bit more athleticism with his legs, JT Daniels gives you better drive of the football, stretching the field more with that ball. But do you sacrifice the mobility of Bennett with the arm talent of Daniels, or do you keep loyal to Bennett? It'll
Yeah.
be very intriguing to see what Kirby Smart does here, because if he sticks with Stetson Bennett and Georgia ends up facing Bama again, Bama's used to Stetson Bennett. So
Yeah.
that's not going to be the big of an issue. But if you go to JT Daniels, you lose the athletic ability, you lose the running ability, and JT just becomes a sitting duck back there for Will Anderson and Dallas Turner, and for Darian Mathis and Byron Young. That's not so appealing either.
Yeah, I agree. I think from the get go, I think Kirby will probably go with Stetson because of how the team has responded to him and how there's a rhythm with him and everybody's comfortable. And even though he didn't have a good showing against Alabama in the SEC championship, I doubt Kirby's going to hold that against them. However, if it continues, then you got to think Kirby's going to want to make a drastic change and possibly put JT in there, somebody who can go over the top and stretch a defense.
Boy, oh boys, it's going to be a crazy college football playoff, man. It's going to be a crazy college football playoff once it gets in here on New Year's Day. Justin, I'm taking the plane to Arlington. I'm taking
All
the
right,
plane to
Jerry
World. I'll
World.
be down there for Bama, Cincinnati. It's going to be a cool atmosphere there, and Bama gets that win there, but I'll be taking the plane to Indianapolis for the national championship. But I mean, what a journey, what a ride it's been for Bryce Young this year. What a ride it's been for us to watch Bryce Young this year.
I'm telling you.
Down there in Florida watching Bryce Young in that atmosphere. Down
Yeah.
there at Jordan Hare and watching Bryce in that atmosphere. At the Mercedes-Benz Stadium twice for the Miami game, the Georgia game, watching Bryce. And then watching Bryce on TV for Alabama against Texas A&M, and even the loss, how cool, how composed he was.
Right,
and the
yeah.
big throws he was able to make to at least give Bama a shot to win that football game. Just nine never seems to get shaken by anything.
It's absolutely amazing too to see the poise, despite in games like Texas A&M and then against Auburn, where he's just getting absolutely murdered. 7 sacks given up against Auburn. We actually gave up 37 sacks the entire season. Did not shake him at all. And anytime he's asked to make a comment about his offensive line, the first thing he says, I have complete faith and trust in these guys. These guys got my back. We're going to go to the next level. And that's just amazing to me.
I'm going to say this. So because it happened, Doug Marrone, if you're hearing me right now, buy Bryce Young a steak. There you go.
And before
Doug
I get
Marrone.
to the
If you can hear me right now, Doug Marrone, give Bryce Young a steak. There you go.
Before I get to these other questions, though, I do want to ask you your personal opinion on this. At what point during the season do you feel like it all just started to click for Bryce, and he went from being good to being elite? For me, I looked at that Tennessee game. I think we finally saw the complete picture of Bryce, especially when in the past, he hesitated using his legs, which is something all of us as Alabama fans were screaming from the rooftops and from our couches, use your dang legs. You've got the opportunity. You got the holes. Go, go. In Tennessee, he did that. And at that point on, I think that he transcended to elite. For you, what was that moment?
For me, what was that moment for me? I thought that moment for me was the Florida game. I thought that moment for me was the Florida game. For him to go down there in Gainesville, in the swamp now, Dan Mullen sold this place out. I was in Gainesville, and I had fans, Florida fans that recognized me, come up to me and go, Stephen M. Smith, we're going to make this real uncomfortable for you right now. I'm like, oh my gosh. I walk in there. It is deafening. I couldn't hear for hours. The place shook. There was a rattling going on in there. I couldn't hear it all. And for Bryce in that atmosphere, 2 touchdown passes, kept everything together, as chaotic as an atmosphere as that was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought at that moment, this kid's got something really special here. Because when you can go down to the places like Florida and places like Mississippi State, those cowbells annoy the mess out of you. And you
Ooh,
can go down to
yeah.
Auburn where the weirdness of Jordan Hare, and you can get wins in all three of those areas, and you come out close with a fourth one like that on the road at Kyle Field. Like those road games where I thought, this is a special kid to be able
Oh,
to
without a
handle
doubt.
those types of environments like that.
And most newcomers would have folded under that pressure. Absolutely right. Jimmy Clay's got a question: who is replacing Josh Jobe? My question to you before you answer this is Jalen R. Davis going to be back? Because if he is,
I think he is. I know he's been dealing with a slight hip issue. He did not play he did not play in the Iron Bowl.
yeah,
Could have played, did not play in the Iron Bowl. He did not play in the SEC championship game because Saban wants JAD at 100%. He's been Alabama's most consistent corner this year, so I think he'll be back. I think he's going to be good to go for the college football playoff. Now, in the event that there's still some doubt when it comes to JAD, in the event that happens, then you're going to look at Kyrie Jackson, the JUCO from East Mississippi Community College.
ECC.
6'3", 197. That the guy from Maryland that came in the 2021 class, and one of those 2021 kids, Kyrie Jackson would start in place of Jalen Armour Davis if he cannot go. In place of Jobe is going to be Kool-Aid McKinstry, who made the All-SEC freshman team. Kool-Aid this year, 17 tackles, a tackle for loss, a sack, a pass breakup, and one interception. Had the huge pass breakup in the Iron Bowl on that 2-point conversion, preventing Auburn from getting that. So Kool-Aid would start for Jobe. Jalen Armour Davis, I think, will be on the field against Cincinnati. If by any means he's not, watch number 6, Kyrie Jackson, get this opportunity. Kyrie Jackson actually tweeted out, New Year's Eve will be a moment to remember. He tweeted that out. So keep your eyes on Kyrie Jackson.
Speaking of tweets, Jai Hall was back on Twitter again, posting cryptic messages as well. I read your article and I saw the tweet as well. So very interesting. He seems to love Twitter.
He took the music video scene from Men in Black, at the end, where Will Smith takes out the neuralizer and just says sorry and just erases the memory of the people watching that. And I guess this is one of two things for Hall. Either he's trying to erase the memory of this 2021 season and try to craft his own narrative, write his own story, craft his own story from his own perspective and his own words being out there on the field, which he has a chance to do this if he's able to, have strong practices. Alabama will be at practice starting next week on the 16th. And then on top of that, he does what he has to do off the field to be the player off the field he needs to be. Then he has a chance to erase his past regular season and craft his own narrative. Or was that tweet be a GIF in light of him possibly taking his talents elsewhere? I'm not saying he is and will. I'm just saying we are living in a transfer portal age in college football where some student athletes feel like if I'm not being catered to appropriately or properly, then let me go somewhere where I can be catered to, where I can be the main face, where I can be the marquee attraction here. So we're living in a different age, a different time in the college football landscape. My hope and thought is that his reason for the Men in Black, a music video GIF photo there at the end, would be of the first standpoint where he's trying to craft his own narrative, remaining at Alabama and trying to get onto that field.
Shout out to Kanan Mullins watching the show. Glad to have you on. And it looks like Waylon is ready to hop on a jet and go with you to Jerry World as well. So you'll have some company.
Look, Waylon, if they gave me a +1, baby, you'd be down there. If they gave me a +1, Waylon, you'd be down there, man. But shouts out to the guy, the guy that said, I hate Justin and Mr. Smith. Apparently I'm Mr. Smith now. He's
put some respect on your name.
I'm just saying that everybody ain't sitting here handing me flowers, man. I'm just a floating.
You're that
spirit,
guy.
I'm just a floating spirit, Steve, with a freaking muffler. I mean,
Yeah, that's it.
Man.
You're that guy, man. You add value here to the show. So
look, Justin. I know what this is, man. I know what this is. I know exactly what this is. I woke up this morning and went in my bathroom, and I found 3 gray hairs.
Oh no, Steve, you're too young for that.
I know, man. I know. And so I called my sister. She was like, "I told you getting old. Told you getting up there." I'm like, "If you don't stop, I told you getting old." I'm like, "You already old." She like, "Steven, I'm 25, and I'll be 25 for the rest of my life. And if you say anything to refute that, I'm going to kill you." I'm like, "God, no, man,
Hey, I'm telling you, man, it is dangerous where you're at, man. Thoughts and prayers to you.
I'm in the middle of the hood, man. Come on, shooting me, man. Golly, man. Can I age in peace? I mean, golly.
Apparently not, man. Apparently not.
Apparently not. But yes, I do appreciate the respect there, Mr. Smith. I appreciate that respect right there. So thank you. Back
to Bryce a little bit. There's one aspect that I think a lot of the audience was introduced to tonight, but you had previous experience with him. That was the influence of his father in his life. And how he has really shaped and molded him into the person he is emotionally, physically, spiritually. And it's just amazing the development that the spoken word over his life and what it's meant to him. But you've spoken with his father. You spent time with Mr. Young. If you would, can you expound more on what we saw tonight in the ceremony regarding the relationship?
Well, Mr. Craig Young is just an outstanding man, and his wife, Miss Julie. I mean, precious family right there. I mean, precious family, and Mr. Craig, what he's done with Bryce in terms of not just the athlete, but the man that Bryce is. Just the focus that Bryce has, the founded, pure, grounded faith that Bryce has, the determination that he has, and just, I guess, that encouraging spirit that Bryce has. All of these things stem from the relationship that he has with his dad, and just that never quit die attitude. It also comes from his dad. So I feel like the words that Mr. Craig spoke to Marty Smith at that podium for the Heisman Trophy, it just speaks to the countless hours that Bryce takes in with his family, the countless hours that he and his dad, both spend together as father and son, not just in football, but in life in general, because we all know you're not going to play the game forever. At some point, you're going to go do different things in life, and it's the lessons that you take from your father, and it's the lessons that you take from the game also that's going to travel with you for the rest of your life. So huge shout out to Craig Young, who's just been an unbelievable man in Bryce's life.
Absolutely. And we appreciate everybody being in the chat tonight. If you have any more questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask. We'll be wrapping up here very shortly. But Stephen, I know right now we're at the mountaintop. Bryce Young is at the mountaintop. It's hard to think about what's next, but what is next? Where do we go from here? What's the mindset going forward?
I'm going to tell you what the mindset is going forward. Alabama men's basketball winning the NCAA tournament. That's the mindset. Alabama men's basketball winning the NCAA tournament. And right now these guys are taking on Houston. I see what that score is here. But that's the move going forward, is Alabama men's basketball winning this NCAA tournament. Because, Nate Oates is doing an unbelievable job. And I've already said this. I think Bama has the opportunity to have 4 athletic venues win a national championship. You look at football for Alabama, men's basketball for Alabama, softball for Alabama. And then I'm going to say this. Keep your eyes on I'm not going to say the women's basketball team wins the national championship, but keep your eyes on Christy Curry and the women's team this year.
Oh, yeah.
I think the girls can go to the Sweet 16. I think the
Absolutely.
girls have a really good team this year.
Score update: we are up 50-46 at the start of the second half. So that's
Okay,
where the men
okay.
are at right now. So
50 to 46 here. Come on, Nate Oates, pull this on out here. But I think, yeah, absolutely.
and
We got
Steve,
Tim Ferriss.
yeah, you've been
We
asked
got
this
Tim
question
Ferriss
a
here.
lot this past
Oh
week.
yeah. So, is there any new information on Malachi Moore and his back situation? Malachi Moore, it's still lingering back spasms that he has had since the spring, and Coach Saban talked about it in the spring. It's a very tricky situation where there are moments where your back feels good, and then there are moments where it tenses up, it tightens up on you to where you can't really function the way you would like to. And I hate this for Malachi because he's such a gifted athlete and a guy that we saw him as a true freshman ball out in 2020. Led the team with 3 interceptions. SEC, freshman of the SEC, all SEC freshman team, and freshman All-American was Malachi Moore. And hopefully, I think, and I know Jeff Allen and that staff, they are working tirelessly on making sure he's going to be, potentially good to go here for the college football playoff, that being one Malachi Moore. So if there's anything I know for a fact that Jeff Allen, Miss Amy Bragg, Dr. Matt Ray, David Ballou, that staff is making sure and very sure they are working with Malachi Moore and trying to have him 100% good to go out there on the field for the college football playoff. But what this has done is, even with Malachi, battling with these back spasms, it's given us a chance to see Brian Branch. And Brian Branch playing some big football. So it's actually helped Alabama where the depth is concerned, because with Malachi not out there at start, we're seeing 14 here, Branch laying the wood, breaking up on passes, making tackles, making plays. That's big right there. So wanting to get Malachi Moore 100% healthy, absolutely.
Yeah.
But this is also good to see Brian Branch out there showing he can be a guy that can deliver some good stuff.
Brian Branch is that dude right now, and I think he's one of the main reasons why our secondary is as successful as they are right now. And if you notice, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but there's a direct correlation between him and DeMarco Hellams playing well. It seems like when Brian Branch is fired up, DeMarco Hellams feeds off that and ends up balling out.
Well, not only that, there's a correlation with when Brian Branch and DeMarco Hellams plays well, Daniel Wright has a good day.
Yeah, he does.
I mean,
it's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. When Branch and Hellams are teeing off, Daniel Wright quietly in the background puts together a good game. And I'm like, there you go, Daniel. There you go, kid. There you go.
Yeah, without a doubt. But, man, I want to go ahead and close up shop. We've been here for roughly an hour, and I definitely want to get to the basketball game because, tied hoops, like Steven said, we possibly could be looking at a Final Four team, so we definitely need our eyeballs on that. But excellent night, man. It's a long time coming for Alabama, a long time coming for their fans, long time coming for the members of Bama Sci-Fi to finally see a quarterback grab that award. And before we jump off, Steven, do you have a favorite moment of Bryce so far this season that you'd like to share? Top moment?
Oh, man. I mean, right now, man, my favorite moment of Bryce, the throw to Ja'Cory Brooks to beat Auburn. He threw it on my end of the press box. I saw it happen. I saw it unfold. I see Ja'Cory Brooks make the catch. I'm wondering, did he get both of his feet in? And as I'm watching the replay inside Jordan Hare, I'm like, holy goodness, he got his feet in. And wow, that play there, and just to watch Jordan Hare go completely silent, to watch that stadium go completely silent after that happened, that is my favorite Bryce Young moment right there, when you had to have that play at that moment, and 9 got it done right there.
Absolutely, man. Incredible moment. I keep on debating whether or not do I call 97-yard touchdown drive to tie things up my favorite moment, or do I call his performance against Georgia my moment? Well, the fact is, if we don't have that 97-yard touchdown,
1A, 1B. I mean, 1A, 1B.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I have to go same as you. 97-yard touchdown. A guy who is putting the bow on the package that is his first full season as a starter, to go in one of the worst environments as an opponent, and you got the crowd on top of you. You got the voodoo going crazy, like you said, the spirits of Jordan Hare, and they broke in the new eagle. Everything that this Jordan Hare, for him to do that, to pull that off, is truly a magical moment. That, listen, A.J. McCarron tried to do that back in 2013. We thought he did it, but no, we ended up having that horrible, I won't even say that play because we see enough of it on CBS during the season. But y'all Alabama fans know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was my moment. And yeah, someone mentioned that lateral to B-Rob in the SEC championship game was theirs. That's about as cool as you can get. The flip to B-Rob. I also loved when he was in the open field and shook that Georgia defender. I think he broke his ankles en route to that rushing touchdown.
Yeah. That was also a good one. That was awesome.
Let's see. Tim Ferriss, if we win the Natty, we need to mail Tank Bigsby his. Well, if it weren't
for because Tank did step out of bounds, and that actually did help Alabama. So, yeah, Tank did step out of bounds.
Well, didn't Jordan Battle assist him with that though?
He did. Jordan kind of just nicely carried him there.
Just was a gentleman. That's what it was, a gentleman. But
Hey, before we sign off here, Justin, I gotta say this. So
go ahead, man.
Bring up 2013. So remember, 2013, T.J. Yeldon stepped out of bounds, and they put 1 second back on the clock, and that's where that play happened. How about this? 8 years later, Tank Bigsby gets pushed out of bounds.
That is a great parting sentiment for all of us to let marinate, because you're exactly right. They mirror each other. It's awesome. But to everybody who was here tonight, we thank you for joining us, especially at the last minute impromptu. But to be honest with you, with a moment this big, we couldn't end this night without talking about it, man. Incredible moment for Alabama. Incredible moment for Bryce Young. Very proud of the man. Just jacked right now.
So Justin's jacked. I'm jacked. For all of us here at the Bama Standard, our man Steve Brown, Marvin Constant, Bo Scarborough, and all of us here at the Bama Standard family. You guys enjoy your Saturday. Bryce Young, the 4th Heisman Trophy winner of the Nick Saban era, first Alabama quarterback to get this thing done, and he wins the 87th Heisman Memorial Trophy. I'm yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. I'm going to watch some Bama hoops. Enjoy your weekend. Good night, people. It's the Bama Standard.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.